Alpecin want a sprint finish. I think it's fair to say that these two sprinters, Caden Groves and Wout van Aert, are a level above all the other fast guys. So I think we should bet on those guys. It could go either way. I think Wout van Aert is in good position to win. Caden Groves also. I'm going to pick Caden Groves for tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Spencer Martin, along with Johan Bruyneel, and this is Outcomes.
Outcomes is not an online gambling operator or a gambling site of any kind. We are simply here to provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. It is a responsibility of all visitors to this podcast to check current local laws in their area or country before doing any gambling online. It is your responsibility to know and follow your local laws in place. Although we try best to provide accurate information on Outcomes, we cannot be held responsible for any inaccurate or incorrect information which is mentioned on this show. If you place any bets based on the conversations on Outcomes, you confirm or understand that it is possible to lose some or all monies used when betting on sports or doing any gambling. You cannot hold Outcomes responsible for any such losses. Our podcast is here to provide entertainment and should be viewed as that and nothing more. Thanks for tuning in.
Everybody, welcome back to Outcomes. We are predicting stage 5 of the Vuelta a España, but as a little bit of change of pace, we're going to check in with the picks we made yesterday, the picks we made for the GC at the start of the race by talking about stage 4, since that was our first big GC showdown with a summit finish on a climb that Johan will say the name of, so I don't have to. But Primož Roglič wins, gets a 10-second time bonus, kind of does what we're used to him doing, just getting to the final climb at the Vuelta a España after breaking his back at the Tour de France and winning and extending his lead that he built up already in the time trial. Johan, so I should say the results. Primož Roglič first, Lennart van Eetveld second after celebrating too early. Joao Almeida third. These are all in the same time. Enric Mas fourth, Felix Gall fifth, Matthew Riccatello, our WeDo house rider, sixth, Mikel Landa seventh, and then Antonio Tiberi was the first rider not in that front group, 18 seconds back. Defending champion Sepp Kuss, 28 seconds back. That means he loses 38 seconds because of time bonuses in 11th. Like massive gaps, Johan, like minutes gaps. Like Adam Yates finishes a minute and a half back. Richard Carapaz a minute and a half back. This was a serious final climb. What are you thinking about the GC after this stage and also how the stage played out?
Yeah, I mean, the favorite one, right? Primož Roglič, although we all had our doubts, we didn't know exactly how he was. We now know he's good. Although he
I would say
saying that he keeps saying that, he's not 100%. I don't think he's 100% yet, but he was confident, man. I mean, if you look, the stage was controlled by the Red Bull Bora, the whole stage. So they knew that he had, a chance. And I have to say, he impressed me on that climb. It was, it's a long climb. It was about 14 kilometers, but the real difference has been made in 2.5 kilometers. I think between 5.5 and 3 kilometers. And if you look at the time he takes on certain riders already, and let's be clear that gap was made mainly by Roglič, not even by attacking, but setting a pace. I think that's what really impressed me the most, that he had a tempo that was not available to anybody else except Enric Mas and Lennart van Eetveld. Maybe two surprises. We didn't see Almeida couldn't follow, Sepp Kuss couldn't follow, Adam Yates couldn't follow when Primož was going, and then true to himself, finishes it off in being patient and in the sprint. As we're used from him, it looks a lot easier than it is. I was actually having serious doubts that Primož would win this stage, because with all the work he had done, especially Van Eetveld. Van Eetveld, I mean, it may be a rider that's not known to the main public, but the guy has a fast finish. And he's in really good shape. He's been saying this for a few weeks now, that he wants to test himself in GC. And wow, I was pleasantly surprised that he was one of the two riders that could stay with Primož. Of course, it's a 3-week race. It's his first Grand Tour. We'll see how far he gets, but pretty impressive, except his early celebration.
Which you were saying in our pre-record, and I agree with you. Upon rewatch, don't think that cost him the win. He just wasn't going nearly as fast as Primož Roglič was.
Well, it looked very disappointing, of course. I think Van Eetveld, obviously, he made the mistake by going after was it Mikel Landa or was it it was Mikel Landa, I think, who attacked.
After catching back on, smart move.
Yeah, and so he was going for it. I mean, it was not far anymore, but Primoz is Primoz. He's a sniper, really impressed with him. Let's not forget, the guy. It's just amazing how he comes back every single time. He went down hard in the Tour. The reports are that he has several fractured vertebrae, not broken, but hey, fractured vertebrae, that's not a joke. Made the decision at the very last moment to start. And we said in our preview show, Spencer, that, if he's at the start, it's because they know that he's ready. But then still, you have to get to that first big appointment, which was today, first big climb, steep. Those 2.5, 3 kilometers were brutal, between 15 and 20% on rough concrete roads. He impressed. And the differences are not big, there's 7 guys in the same time. He takes the red because of his time trial, the best of all the favorites, and now it's going to be a matter of how they can manage this red jersey. But listen, Primoz is doing Primoz. He's a different guy in the Vuelta. I mean, hats off to him. I'm really impressed, and I'm a big fan of Primoz. I think he deserves this.
Yeah, I'm a big fan as well. I believe his 12th Vuelta career stage win, 20th career Grand Tour stage win. People take him for granted. Like, he's a winning machine. Almost no, one other rider in the sport wins as much as him. That's Tadej Pogačar, and then there's probably another GC rider that's better, Jonas Vingegaard. But Primoz is absurd, and then everything falls apart. Like, Red Bull they disappear halfway up the climb. You're thinking, well, this isn't good. Primoz has to go to the front, setting, I guess, a false tempo that is also blowing up the field and dropping everybody. And you're like, I don't know if I like this. I was really, because he was your pick for the day. I was last 400 meters. It doesn't look good. It's slowing down. People are attacking. I was actually hoping Matthew Riccatello, my plus 4,000 pick, would launch a late attack and no one to follow him. Couldn't believe that was almost playing out. And then it just falls into place. Mikel Landa goes early. Leonard Van Effel follows him. Primoz Roglic just found himself a lead out. He makes really difficult wins look routine. And, maybe he doesn't attack super far down climbs like Tadej Pogačar and just blow everybody out of the water. But this is pretty impressive. And, we were debating yesterday if this was going to be breakaway or not. Red Bull, they lucked out a little bit because there was a 4 or 5 rider move that had a little tiny gap, and then a big crash happened and some pseudo GC guys went down like Tymons Arnsman. Great opportunity, right? To say, let's wait for everybody. Let's just let this breakaway go up the road. So they didn't have a crazy hard time controlling it, but they brought it back. And now that we know the outcome, it was worth it because they get a 10th. This is how he wins Grand Tours. He just racks up time bonuses and does well in the time trials. Seems to be going to plan. Little thing I'd call out, though, João Almeida. I was unsure how he would do. Finishes 3rd, doesn't lose any time, which is big for him, and gets a little time bonus. I'm a little worried. His team is so strange. At one point, I believe they had 3 riders in front of him. He was the 4th UAE rider on the climb. Yeah. They have this Jackson Pollock just sprayed everywhere. They have leaders sprayed all over the climb. Maybe Almeida doing this while everyone else loses time. Pavel Sivakov was the closest UAE rider, 28 seconds back, who had a great climb, by the way.
Sivakov, let me tell you, Spencer, pay attention to Sivakov, because Sivakov today did an amazing ride. He attacked. He was off the front. He got caught back, then set a bit of tempo, and then only still loses 28 seconds. This is the Sivakov is going to do a great. And we could already see at the end of the Tour, Sivakov was amazing. He was in some of those mountain stages, he was going really well. So I think he's going to do a great Vuelta. Disappointment for Adam Yates, I would say. Losing 130 on a 2.5 kilometer steep part, which is his favorite terrain. That's obviously the sign that Adam is not in the same shape. He can still get better. But usually as we said already, the Yates brothers, if they're really super good or they're completely off. Carapaz also disappointing, 130, and of course
I saw him grabbing for water from a random spectator. That's never good.
Yeah,
that
and
means
then of course also Sepp Kuss also, in my opinion, is he only loses 28 seconds, but it's a disappointment as being the defending champion. Already lost important time in the time trial, and now today again. So he's already 114 down. And then the question is, where is he going to get this time back to Primož Roglič?
Well, yeah, if you lose time in the time trials and the climbs, that's not a great strategy for eventually winning the race. I mean, last year he actually had a similar fate on the first uphill finish last year at the Vuelta, and then went on to win the race. The problem is there's no world where he gets into an early move and anyone lets that roll. Like that card has been played.
Exactly.
People, they have a tendency, and I don't know why this has infected the discourse so much, but the first summit finish, I don't really know what that tells us. Actually, if you go back and look at early summit finishes and Grand Tours or early mountain stages, they tell you a lot, like a lot.
Everything.
Yeah. Do you know who got second at the first summit finish last year? Jonas Vingegaard, right behind Remco Evenepoel on a climb that really suited him. I'd say Jonas Vingegaard was probably the strongest rider overall at the Vuelta last year. Probably could have won it if he really wanted to. So they do tell you a lot. One question I have for you, Johan, before we go into predictions, looking at these young riders, Van Aert, 22 years old, I believe. Riccatello in sixth. I think he's 23. And then you have, like Tiberi, a lot of guys going for the white jersey. What is going on with Kijn Uijtdebroeks? That's not great. The fact that he's worse than he was on Red Bull last year, or I guess it was Bora. And he made a lot of noise when he left that team about how the equipment wasn't any good. The training wasn't any good. They didn't know what they were doing. Probably shouldn't have done that. Like, sometimes I wonder, what are these agents thinking? Like, why are they letting these riders say these things?
Well, I think Uijtdebroeks was unhappy at Bora and was dreaming of going to Visma. It's clear that he has not progressed at all. I'm not going to say I'm surprised, I mean, I've spoken to people who have been with him since the juniors. He's a talent. He's definitely a talent, but it's also a rider who was already in optimal conditions, optimal circumstances since the juniors already. Training, nutrition, recovery, everything was already programmed to the detail. And this is a guy who always wants more and more and more. I think that was also one of the reasons why he left Bora, because he wanted more for himself and the team was not supporting him in that. And he's finding this environment now at Visma. But for the moment, I mean, this year has not been a great season for Kijn Uijtdebroeks compared to what everybody expects from him. The way he has started, I think it's going to be a Vuelta with at the maximum a top 10 place, not a podium. I don't think so. Not even top 5, I would say. So, I'm not going to be too critical, but I can kind of see a rider which is a talent and is reaching already a limit at the very early stages of his professional career. And he's not the only one. There's a lot of really young, good riders who are at their maximum. They have no progression margin anymore when it really matters. And that's also one of the reasons why we see more and more these unpleasant news that, of these burnouts or people who are young guys who are in depression or who basically quit cycling when they're 21 years old. So, hopefully for Kijn this is different, but I fear that my analysis is not far off the truth.
I agree. I've agreed since that move happened. Like, you want to see someone like Isaac Del Toro. I think this was him where like he had never had a bike fit before this year or something. That's a lot of upside right there. Someone who's not been optimized. But I will read off the odds, the favorites for tomorrow's stage 5, which is 177. like hilly. It's like starts off hilly and then goes downhill and then is pancake flat for the last, let's say 30, 40K, extremely flat, straight finish to the, or straight run to the finish line. So
and very, very hot. Very hot.
Yes. Like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 degrees centigrade. This is on Unibet in Europe. I'll call out better prices. The main books you want to bet in the US are DraftKings and FanDuel, just because they're available in most places. Caden Groves is the favorite at plus 115. Wout van Aert right behind him, plus 130. These markets are getting slightly more efficient. Pavel Bittner at plus 1400, drops off really fast. Arnie Marit, plus 1400. John Aberasturi, plus 1800. Corbin Strong, plus 1800. Brian Kakar, plus 2500. Stefan Kung, plus 5000. These are crazy drop-offs. We probably don't need to read after that. Johan, how do you think this is going to play out and who is going to win?
Yeah, I think it's a sprint stage for sure. No, especially with the flat finish. Both Visma and Alpecin want a sprint finish. I think it's fair to say that these two sprinters, Caden Groves and Wout van Aert, are a level above all the other fast guys. So I think we should bet on those guys. It could go either way. I think Wout van Aert is in good position to win. Caden Groves also. I'm going to pick Caden Groves for tomorrow because today he beat Wout van Aert in the intermediate sprint. I don't know. I mean, obviously the intermediate sprints are not the same. It's not a reflection of a finishing sprint, but Wout was going for it, and Caden Groves was, of course, they were the only two who to do the sprint, but he beat him quite easily. So his top speed is very high. Caden Groves for the win tomorrow at plus 115. He's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good pick. I do agree. It's one of these two. If you're really smart, if you just want to make money, you should bet both of them, because I actually think this is an inefficiency of the market here that they have them both plus, because if you balance it right, you can bet both. And if one wins, they make money. Probably honestly bet both of them for the podium too. If you want to have fun though, just bet one of them and feel alive when the final 300 meters comes around. Yeah, I did see that, Johan, and it did make me a little concerned because he won that handily. He did have like 4 teammates leading him out, and Wout van Aert was by himself. So I'm going to pick Van Aert. I actually found him at plus 135 on FanDuel in the US, slightly better odds. Probably the smart move here too, if you're just thinking analytically, maybe just pick the one with the better odds. So Van Aert at plus 135. I was joking that every time I pick him, he doesn't win. So now that I've picked him, Caden Groves will win, and you will have the correct winner for the stage. But Van Aert, I think, will get stronger as this race goes on. I mean, and the guy looks like he's been in the gym just lifting weights since the tour. So
it's very powerful.
Yeah, I think that sprint is not going anywhere for the rest of this race. I like him a lot.
Yeah. I think those two are on another level, head and shoulders above the other sprinters. To pick a second one is difficult. I'm going to put my hopes on Corbin Strong. Plus 1800. Never know what happens. He can be up there. He tends to be a rider who gets better when the race gets harder. It's stage 5, so there's already some fatigue. And who knows if something goes wrong with Caden Groves or Wout van Aert. Somebody will have to win the stage. So I hope it's going to be Corbin Strong at plus 1800.
Yeah, I mean we're reaching here. I mean I actually don't love him for the podium because I think plus 1800, that's a good price. Either he wins this or he's 5th. Like something goofy happens, something goes wrong. I like Corbin Strong as a hedge because let's say Groves and Van Aert don't win for some reason. Strong is strong enough. Like he's one of the few guys in this peloton to have the power to do this. I think there's one other one too. Arnie Marit, Arne Intermarché. That's a good team. That team knows what it's doing. He's plus 1400. He was, I believe, 4th on stage 3, the last sprint stage. Again, one of the only guys powerful enough to even be in consideration, plus 1,400. And he'd be picking these as hedges if you just think, stuff happens and sprint finishes. Like, it's not guaranteed that Groves and Van Aert win. These are really, really cheap second and third options, fourth options. So that's the thinking there. I think after that, it actually gets hard to imagine outside of a breakaway or a late escape. You don't see those as much as you used to, though. Like Victor Campenaerts tried and got nowhere.
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
And before we get to head-to-heads, which are becoming my favorite part of this show, GC, you should have bet Primož Roglič yesterday because he's minus 165 now. Someone texted me last night. A friend texted me, said, should I bet João Almeida plus 450 to win the overall? I said no. I said to wait until after today because today was going to tell you a lot. We now know he's pretty good. Now he's plus 550. So he's actually gone down, which is odd to me because he passed a big test. And the reason you'd bet Almeida is because it's a hedge against something happening to Primož.
Yeah.
Like Primož looks pretty good, probably going to win this race. But what if he crashes out? João Almeida at plus 550, that is an interesting hedge against a Roglič disaster coming up. And I'm surprised he's that cheap after what we saw from him.
He's solid rider. He does have the Tour in the legs. That's different. But, to his advantage also, there's a time trial at the end, 24 kilometers, which he can definitely defend himself better than, let's say, for example, an Enric Mas or a Leonard van Eetveld. Who knows what happens, basically, or Mikel Landa. So, or Matteo Riccitello, whoever, or Felix Gall, all the guys who
Can
were
you
there.
imagine if Riccitello's in the lead going into the final stage and then gets mowed down by Almeida? I'd literally cry.
Yeah. I think it's worth. We don't wish that anything happens to Primož, but at that price, I would put a few bucks on João Almeida.
I was surprised. Enric Mas, we were talking about it. Incredible. Like, he looks incredible. Different guy. But as you say, it's that final time trial. Like, think about Mikel Landa, as you said. He's plus 1,400. Mas is plus 500. They're going to have a really hard time defending themselves against someone like João Almeida in that time trial. Like, Mikel Landa never ceases to amaze me about how much time he can lose in a final time trial. So I just don't. Same thing. Remember, Enric Mas got caught by Primož Roglič the year he got second at the Vuelta. He got caught in the final time trial.
Landa did a pretty good time trial in Nice, Spencer.
That was a mountain course, basically, though. That was a little bit different.
Yeah.
So we'll go to the head-to-heads. These are from FanDuel in the U.S. We got a little dinged up today. We got to get back on track. Enric Mas minus 116. João Almeida minus 116. These are kind of funny ones because you're just guessing who's going to position themselves to not crash better.
I think Enric Mas for this one.
All right. If it's a positioning contest, never bet on Almeida. So I agree. This is why I don't know why this is in here. Garofoli versus Matthias Labier, and it's Gianmarco Garofoli versus Matthias Labier. Garofoli's minus 172. Labier is plus 124.
Who is this?
I have no idea. Hold on a second. Why they rarely do this? So Matthias Labier is on Arkea B&B Hotels.
Never. Sorry for him, but I've never heard of this guy.
I honestly have never heard of these people either.
I know that guy. Which team is that? Is he on?
He's on Astana.
Oh, an Astana.
It's like part of the Italians, like the Italian group on Astana.
I think if I'm not mistaken, this guy comes from the Zwift Academy or something. Garofoli, or he had a few Strava KOMs or. I think that's where he comes from, in my opinion.
So,
but
interesting.
Honestly, Spencer, I don't know any of both, so no idea. Absolutely no idea.
This is really strange. Something's up. When you see this, like something's going on here, because we saw a few weird ones at the Tour, and then it played out like oddly similar to how you thought. So you're right. This guy he might have been in the Zwift Academy. You're right, Garofoli. He got 19th on stage 3. Let's look at these odds again. But also, LeBur got 17th on stage 2.
Okay.
If you want to just have fun, I would go just with the one with the better odds. So go LeBur plus 124. We'll just pick it. It's not a backbreaking amount of money that we're going to lose.
Yeah.
There's another one with two guys I've never heard of. I'm going to skip them. That is wild. This is weird. Something's going on here. So Caden Groves minus 134, Wout van Aert plus 102. I'm not even sure if this makes sense to actually bet. You'd probably just be better off betting them both to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, just for the sake of, I guess you should always just bet the one with better odds, like I said the other day. So maybe Van Aert plus 102, because if it's a coin flip result, bet the one with the better odds of winning. But Leonard Van Etfeldt minus 180, Primož Roglič plus 132. But we saw Van Etfeldt finish like 5th the other day, right?
Tomorrow. I think Van Etfeldt tomorrow.
I agree too. Let me look to see where he finished on stage 3. Finished 23rd. Yeah, Roglič was 32nd. Roglič he's not like Tadej. He's not up there mixing up in these bunch sprints. I would go Van Etfeldt as well. Minus 180, not terrible. And then let's look at points really quick. What are the points classifications odds? I mean,
they're close. Actually, they're 5 points apart now.
Yeah, and Wout lost ground today. But I kind of wonder if that's a trap, because the more this gets into the mountains, does he start to pull away? Let me look at the odds really quick. I mean, Caden Groves, so Wout van Aert's minus 270. Caden Groves is plus 370. Decent odds, but I don't know.
I think Van Aert is the better overall rider. There's going to be moments where Van Aert has access to points that Groves doesn't. With like intermediate sprints after a hill or something. And even, I think actually as we go on, if they start to see that Kuss is out of contention to win, that's going to be their main focus, the green jersey.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Kuss didn't have the worst day in the world.
No, he doesn't. But it's let's not forget, he won the Vuelta last year, deserved to win, but he's never been a leader of a team in any race.
Well, I hate to bring it up. They actually had one spring where they sent him as a leader to a bunch of one-week races, and he was not good in any of them. Okay. So it's like his pedigree as a leader isn't great. Obviously, this is better for him than a 1 week spring stage race, but he could have a good race and he could finish behind 6 people. It's a good field here. It's a deceptively deep field. So I think you're right that they will have to shift their focus to the green.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Johan. And do you have anything else to add before we get going?
No. See you tomorrow, Spencer.
All right. See you tomorrow for stage 6.